Hey everybody, hope everybody's being safe and healthy and happy during the quarantine. And this is Daniel at yourvocalteacher.com. So I'm just going to answer some questions today. No singing with the funny hat on. Just going to answer some questions. And I got chicken scratch here. If you could see it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to read it, but I'm going to try. All right. So somebody asked what mics I use for those recordings that I'm doing. So basically what I'm doing is I'll use this, I have this Audio Technica, it's a 4050, and I'll use that sometimes, and that kind of gets it's a really good, it's a great mic for vocals or for acoustic, because all I'm doing really is just, I'm using this, like the system like a PA, it's like the mic goes into my, my DAW, and then it just comes out through the speakers like a live room. So that microphone picks up the room well, and then the other one I was doing that worked well too was the SM7B, the Shure, and I use that one sometimes too. It's just kind of whatever happens to be up. The Shure was up because I did a couple podcasts, and that's good for, it's a good mic for that kind of thing, for really sitting on the mic. This one's a little more sensitive, so I have to kind of sit back from it kind of a thing. So that was that question. Somebody asked, how do I get past C5 and falsetto? Basically, that your falsetto, your registration, your different registers, they all act the same if you follow the rules, at least the way that I learned it. When I follow the rules, they all kind of act the same. So when say I start falsetto on like an F sharp 4, as I go up the scale, it could, as if I'm training it, you could sing any value you want when you're singing, but as I'm training it, it will start with a closed vowel and then slowly start to open, little by little. And the whole thing that I try and concentrate on is not to let any extrinsic muscles come in. I don't try to let that, I'm trying not to go, ee, 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 ee. I'm trying to go, ee, ee, ee. That kind of thing, where I'm not straining, I'm not reaching for the note. And around C sharp 5, actually another register starts. So, but the reason you're probably not getting to the C5 or you start feeling it on the B4 is because it's probably starting before that. You're probably starting to the chords aren't sitting properly the way that I look at it. They're not really sitting right in the lower one. So as you get higher, you're just going to start reaching, just like chest voice. You're and then you go up higher, and you start straining. So because they're not sitting in the right position, the chords in falsetto are on their edges, and I really believe in training your falsetto correctly. And after that, it works the same way as you keep going higher. After that C sharp, and I close down again, and I start going back up the scale, and I start opening up the vowels, I can close down again, and then whistle can appear. And anybody can have whistle, unless you got like something strange going on with your voice. Maybe some basses can't, I'm not sure. But as far as like just regular guy singing, pop tunes, rock tunes, you can find whistle. It's just you have to find it. There's a certain order, sequence of things that you can do to find it, at least for the way that I do it. Just like anything, any skill. Don't just jump at it and think you're going to go, I'm going to get whistle. It's not going to work. But yeah, we could always get into that more on lessons. The next question was about choosing a teacher. This one kind of hits home because I am a teacher, but I've been a singer, and I will continue to be a singer. I think you got to make sure the teacher actually does what he does. Says is a singer, he's a singer. He's out there doing it, or she's out there doing it. Because we get into singing because we love it. Why stop? Maybe on certain circuits you're going to stop, but you're still going to sing. You should still be able to maintain your voice and keep your voice doing what you want it to do as time goes on. I'm not young. I'm 51, old. So I would also make sure that your teacher's studied, meaning he's studied with a coach. Or that he studied with someone and learned it from someone and has the roadmap to get you to your goals, that knows exactly what he needs to do to get you there, the steps that he took to get there, the steps that his teacher took to get there. That person Let me see, I'm looking at my chicken scratch, that they have a good grasp on what they're telling you. They're not just throwing a bunch of fancy words and physiology at you, telling you to move this, do that, but then when you listen to them sing, or when you find out that's like actually not what they're doing. There's been a couple times I've seen coaches talk about support, and they say, yeah, and I suck my belly in when I do these notes, and then when you watch them sing, you notice that they're not doing that. So, you got to watch out for those kind of things too. The fancy words, not lining the fancy words up with demonstrating it. You want practical application is what you want, I believe. You want not only, maybe you want the fancy words. Awesome. Get the fancy words and get the application of those fancy words. Fancy words. I just keep saying fancy words. Let me see. There are answers you need to share. Coaches out there. Let me see. Someone mentioned about drinking and singing, and I'm sorry, but I do like the alcohol. It's a nice Sunday evening, and I'm just having a little margarita. Drinking and singing is like anything else. You take it too far, it's gonna mess up your voice. You're not mess up your voice, it's gonna mess up everything, because drinking messes with your muscular neuro pathways, right? But if you just do it a little bit, it might relax you and take away some anxiety you may have about singing. As far as messing with your throat or anything like that, a couple drinks or coffee or anything like that, it really doesn't. For years, this is a good one, because for years ago when I was singing a lot, and I was much younger, and I didn't drink that much. I was always having voice problems, always. And every time I go to the doctor, the ENT would say to me, hey, it looks like you got acid reflux. It looks like you got this. And I kept going back, and I do everything they say to do, and I take every acid reflux pill. I was on acid reflux pills for like 15 years. It was ridiculous. And over time, when I finally found out what technique really was for me, and really how to use it and apply it, all of a sudden my acid reflux went away, and all of a sudden all these voice problems went away. So was it that my throat was beat up, or vocal cords in the situation they were in, was it really because of acid reflux, or was it because my technique was just off? And I believe it was my technique was off, because I eat whatever I want. There are things that bother my voice, I would say, here and there, like a beer. I don't like beer on my voice. I don't know why. Could be psychological, but tequila, anything else, fine. Sometimes tomato sauce, I'll notice that could cause something, and that's real. Like, that could cause a little something, but nothing I can't overcome now. Whereas back in the day, it was like detrimental. I couldn't sing. Like, I couldn't do anything. But I wouldn't eat any tomato sauce. I wouldn't drink any alcohol. I wouldn't do anything. And yet I had all these problems that they were saying were acid reflux and all these problems. I believe you get your technique in order, really get your technique in order, and that will go away. Let's see, what else do I have here? I have, why don't I do an online program, book, or CD? I've thought about it, of course, many times. I'm so well read. I have someone to edit a book or a CD if I wanted to in the medical profession that could really help me with it, make sure I get all of that technical side of it right. I have every book on the shelf, from Vennard to Stanley to all the old books, and I'm very studied. I do what I do. I don't have any excuses. But I don't, as I keep going on, I realize you cannot learn from a book, because you need someone with those ears that's telling you yes, no, yes, no. I truly believe that. That is something that's irreplaceable, and you can just make your own. Take a few lessons, record the lessons, whether it's on video, record them on audio, on your phone, and make your own course for yourself. Because then you could hear yourself, and you knew what it felt like, you knew when it was right, because the teacher said yes, no. That's if you're doing online, which we're all doing online now, but even in person, you can, the teacher will tell you, do this one, you'll remember that feeling, you'll do it over and over again. I can give you any bunch of scales, bunch of combinations, vowels, this and that. I can't hear you doing them. My book can't hear you doing them. My CD can't hear you doing them. And then you're going to listen to someone on the CD and you're inexperienced and you think you know what you hear, but maybe not what they're doing. I mean, I was guilty of that. I got every program you could think of all those years when I was younger. I bought everything because I wanted to learn as I was gigging. It just never worked, and I say that's why. So yeah, make your own book, you know, from your sessions with your coach. You don't have to take a boatload. Get the fundamentals down. You know what I mean? If that teacher knows his fundamentals and is not bullshitting you and is right on, you're going to get the fundamentals and you're going to have them on tape every day the way your voice is supposed to sound on them and feel on them. That's what I think. That's what I think. Why don't I do a reaction video? Don't want to. Rather just sing the song. Again, it's kind of like, you know, the reaction videos and then they stop and they go, oh, and he was doing this, and it's not really, I think it hurts more than it helps. And that's just my personality on it. That's just my take on it. I just believe, you know, it hurts more than it helps. But hey, it's great. I mean, I know that people get tons of views. I know that if I did it, you probably get all these different views. But I don't know if those views are just because people want to see someone go, oh my God, or they actually want to study voice. Sure, some do, but if you're really serious about studying voice, you study voice. If you're having a problem, if you're one of those guys that puts in a record and you're a kid and you're 16 years old and you could just start singing along and everything is lining up and every day you do it, it just gets better, then whatever, you've got your answers. Lucky. My friend said scale. Okay, my friend said scales are BS. Why do them? Just sing songs. Well, maybe your friend's a lucky guy and he's just one of those guys that just got that voice. Awesome, good for him. He's gonna get better. Maybe later on in life when he doesn't have those scales to balance him out, take his registers and balance them. Maybe that's when he's gonna run into trouble. Maybe now that he's young, it's gonna work for him. I believe it's just like anything else. Why does a basketball player lift weights? They have to lift weights. And if you're a basketball pro ball player, they make you still do squats and lunges and chin-ups and deadlifts, and you have to stay in shape because that gets your muscles stronger, and then you go do your skill. And that's how I feel about scales. If they're done properly and you're doing them for certain, this register, I'm strengthening this register, I'm strengthening this register, I'm strengthening this register. I'm working on a passage of a scale that goes through a couple registers to get that super strong. That's why you're doing it. It's to get it stronger. So when you do go sing, your voice is always going to be there. Why does a boxer run every day? Every boxer. You're going to be a professional fighter. You have to run. That's just what you do. And why can't that just be for singing? You go through your scales, you go through your workout, and then you get to your singing. Singing brings in emotion. It brings in certain phrases where you're not supporting the voice, where certain phrases where the vocal cords are loose and limp and kind of air just passing through. Well, if you keep on doing that, but you never do the strengthening exercises, you're going to keep on telling your mind, oh, the weaker one is good. The chord's not coming together and vibrating properly. You want to abduct the chords more and more. That's what your brain's thinking, and that's what you don't want to do. So it helps your ear evenness and sound throughout your whole range. So that way you'll know if you're in one area that's weaker than another area, registration-wise, you can strengthen that registration. Now it's as strong as the other one, so it feels like you have one solid voice from beginning to end. So it feels like there is no registers, which that in the end game, that's what it should feel and sound like. Salute, happy quarantine. Well, this is long the video. I didn't want to do that long. Sorry if you sat through it and you were bored. Scales when we're, okay, I think I just went through all that. No. And then one more thing, I do teach, and I notice, like, I teach teachers sometimes that are coming from other schools and other thoughts, and sometimes they're embarrassed, like, oh, I shouldn't be taking lessons, I'm a teacher and I should know, and that's not true. You want to better your instrument, or you're going to have in the back of your mind, you're always going to want to get better if you really, truly enjoy singing. There was a few years back where I taught a vocal coach, a popular online vocal coach. He came to me for lessons, and he only took a few lessons, and was like, well, if I change my singing like you want me to, or if I try to do these scales, it's going to totally change my voice. I'm like, well, that's the point. You want to better yourself. You want to get better and know what you're doing, and that person didn't want to do it. So, and then I've heard other vocal coaches say, well, I want to sing like, when I was young, growing up, I always wanted to sing like Pavarotti or Corelli or whoever it would be, Steve Perry, whatever. But I realize now that I just don't have that voice. That's bullshit. You want that voice, there are ways to get that voice. You're going to work towards it, and you're going to do the best that you can. Don't give up and think that this is what you're given. When I was a kid, when I was in my teens, I wanted to sing, and more than one person told me, hey man, you have a really good background singer voice. You should be a background singer. So I just did that, and I just played guitar. I played guitar and sang harmonies, and that was it. So I didn't, but I always wanted to sing, and it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I said, fuck this, I'm going to sing. And that's when I started to sing. So don't believe that. Don't believe you can't have the voice that you want, because you can. That's what I believe. And yeah, maybe, certain things, physical things are going to hold you back, the shape of a throat, the size of the vocal cords, whatever, but not the technique. If you want to get that close to that sound, you can find it. Anyway, hope that was it. This is Sunday, quarantined here in California, and I hope everybody out there is being safe, and hopefully we'll get through all this baloney and get back to the real world, or the real life and things. So, salute everybody. Enjoy your weekend, or week. See, I'm not drunk, I'm just drinking. I'm not drunk, I'm just drinking. Salute. Daniel for yourvocalteacher.com. You can reach me for Skype lessons, yourvocalteacher@gmail.com. Peace.